After the eviction of Jews from the Peace House in Hebron, nationalist protests were held throughout the country. The Tatzpit news service was there at Hebron and in Jerusalem and saw how the violence of the expulsion continued with violence during the dispersing of the protests and the protesters themselves.
It began in the afternoon hours, the eviction from Peace House. Hundreds of border police and Yassam police forces swooped down on Peace House in Hebron. Their arrival is a complete surprise, leaving the residents no time to prepare their resistance to the eviction. As expected, the eviction is violent. There is blood, shouting, dozens of injured. The wounded are evacuated to hospitals in Jerusalem.
The violence we saw here was blind. They attack and beat people for no reason. Why? Just because. Because you're there. Because you are in my way. The use of tear gas and everything we saw here, and even of rubber bullets in the streets of Kiryat Arba. Nobody dreamt this would happen. We are back to sites that we saw in Amona. They don't discriminate between men and women. They touch girls freely. It's too bad that we reached this. These are painful sights to see.
Once the news of the eviction reaches the activists in other parts of Israel, the Land of Israel faithful hit the streets. Demonstrations are held countrywide, and intersections in the central cities are blocked. In the protests too, it seems the police are using lots of determination, but less sensitivity. In a split second, the familiar scenes of police brutality are back. Activists blocked the main entrance to Jerusalem for 15 minutes. In the end, the police used force to disperse them. Some of the protesters are arrested. Others go on to other protest spots to shout out the cry of Hebron. The eviction from Peace House, they say, will not pass quietly.
What we saw today in Hebron is the result of leadership that has lost its way. Leadership that has forgotten who is the owner of this land. Leadership that has no values, for whom the Torah doesn't even exist. It comes here and brutalizes the pioneers who sanctify heaven's name with every day that they populate Judea and Samaria, especially in the city of forefathers, Hebron. It is humiliating to know that this is the army, this is the police, and that we have become the enemies of the state of Israel. If we have reached this low point, there is only one way to make things better. We have to make the change from within the systems. If we head the army and the police, if we run the court system and the media, which we see as dictating the country's agenda, if we will stand at the center of things, everything will look different. So that this crisis must not break us. We must enter the system and make sure that these sites are not seen again, and that instead we will see building and development and not destruction all day long.